Yan ang sabi ng ating Pangulo. Ayaw naman niya magpilit po na basta lumapit. So, naghintay siya ng timing na pwede niyang lapitan. Di ba? Ganun lang po, mga kababayan. Kasi wala man po talaga silang meeting na one-on-one. Leaders meeting yon ng mga epic leaders na in group, hindi one-on-one. Hello po mga kababayan, si Dante Maravillas. Dito ulit tayo sa ating podcast, Live with Dante M. So pag-usapan natin yung epic leaders meeting ng ating Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa South Korea. Naging controversial po yung pakipagkamay ng ating Pangulo kay Xi Jinping, President Xi Jinping ng China. O matagi na naman po yung mga DDS bashers. Ito po, lagi itong nagre-react sa akin. Halatang troll mga kababayan, no? Sabi niya, pinatunayan mo lang sa buong mundo kung gaano ka katanga. Ito kasi yung report mga kababayan ng One News. Quoting the President sa press con niya, sabi ng ating Pangulo, ang hirap lapitan, PBBM on approaching Chinese presidency. Kinikwento ko niya lang yung sitwasyon mga kababayan. Kasi siyempre, si Xi Jinping po, isa sa mga pinakang powerful na leader ng mundo. And leader siya ng second largest economy sa mundo. Number 1, siyempre, yung Amerika. And that is normal. Mga kababayan, sa kada presidente, maigpit yung security. Sabihin pa na kapwa niya leader. Kasi yung ating Pangulo, leader din ng ating bansa. Si Xi Jinping, leader ng second largest economy. And number 3, in terms of pinakang malaking bansa, in terms of land area. At number 1 or number 2 yata, kasi nagko-compete sila in terms of population with India. Diba? 1.2, 1.3 billion na po yung mga Chinese. So, umatake agad, mga kababayan, yung mga DDS trolls. Yung pagkikipagkamay ng ating Pangulo kay Xi Jinping. Pinapakita lang, alam naman natin, di ba, na medyo may problema between the Philippines and China because of the issue sa West Philippine Sea. Lagi tayong binubuli ng China. Pero sabi nga natin, consistent lang yung ating Pangulo sa kanyang posisyon na tayo naman po, habang dinidefend natin yung ating sovereignty, hindi naman tayo nakikipag-away. Wala tayong intensyon mga kababayan makipag-gira sa China o alinmang bansa. Nabasag kasi po yung propaganda narrative ng mga DDS na tayo gustong makipag-away. Kaya galit silang nakipag-handshake. Ang tawag nila, tanga. Pinakita daw na tanga yung ating Pangulong Bongbong. Baliktad po yung inyong pananaw talaga. Yung mismo yung ating Pangulong lumapit kay Xi Jinping, Chinese President. Pinapakita ng ating Pangulo ang ibig sabihin ng diplomacy. Sabi nga, action speaks louder than words. Di ba? Yung intensyon ng ating Pangulo ay para i-congratulate po si Xi Jinping bilang bagong chairman ng EPIC. Tulad ng ating Pangulo, siya din yung bagong chairman ng ASEAN. O di ba? Magka-level sila po regional leader. Pagpapakita, this is a display of mutual respect, mga kababayan. So, kahanga-hanga po ang pinakita ng ating Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa harap ng mga EPIC leaders. So, makikita ninyo po ang tatak Marcos. Di ba? Marunong rumispeto sa kapwa niya leader. Hindi lang leader ng bansa, kundi leader ng APEC. Habang yung ating Pangulo, leader din ng ASEAN ngayon. So yung pakikipagkamay mga kababayan ng ating Pangulo ay sumisimbolo sa ating commitment para sa maayos at mapayapang ugnayan sa buong rehiyon. So, makikita ninyo ang commitment for diplomacy. Hindi yung pakikipag-away. Sabi nga, respect begets respect. Yan mga kababayan yung ating Pangulo. Yan sabi rito sa report ng One News, pinilit kong makapunta sa kanya and I said congratulations. President Marcos Jr. recounts how he personally approached Chinese President Xi Jinping. during the 32nd APEC Summit in South Korea. Kahapon po, Marcos shared that Xi was consistently surrounded by security personnel, making it difficult to approach him throughout the event. The only time I was able to speak to President Xi was in our last leaders retreat meeting. And the reason why, ang hirap lapitan talaga, we are held in. Meron kaming holding room. But every time he comes in, he is surrounded by security. Ang hirap lapitan. Ayoko namang mamilit. Baka suntukin pa ako ng security guard niya. Yan ang sabi ng ating Pangulo. Ayaw naman niya magpilit po na basta lumapit. So, naghintay siya ng timing na pwede niyang lapitan. Di ba? Ganun lang po, mga kababayan. Kasi wala man po talaga silang meeting na one-on-one. Leaders meeting yon ng mga epic leaders na in group, hindi one-on-one. So sabi ng ating Pangulo, he finally managed to speak to the Chinese leader at the conclusion of the summit. According to the president, he walked over to Xi to offer his congratulations on China's role as host of next year's APEC summit, describing the gesture as a matter of courtesy. Marcos and Xi exchanged a handshake during a brief interaction. Ayan po, mga kababayan, yung pakikipag-interact ng ating Pangulo na siya mismo yung nag-approach para i-congratulate. Tama naman yung approach ng ating Pangulo. Kasi siyempre, si President Xi, siya yung magiging susunod na chairman ng APEC Leaders Meeting. Tulad niya, nilapitan din siya ng mga leaders ng ASEAN kasi siya yung susunod na leader ng ASEAN Summit for 2026. Siya naman yung nilapitan ng mga leaders para i-congratulate. Anong mali doon? Talaga naman ito mga DDS. Lahat na lang nagalaw ng ating Pangulo, pinupuna ninyo. Di ba? Ganyan kahambol po. Hindi po, kahit presidente na yung ating Pangulo, hindi po siya mayabang. Walang yabang sa kanyang katawan. Very humble president. Pero nire-respeto siya ng mga leaders ng mundo. Kasi hindi siya yung ugaling barbaro. Tulad nung previous leader na pati yung Santo Papa pinagmumura. Ang akala mo kung sino. Pati si Barack Obama, pinagmumura. Imagine that. Di ba? Walang ganong ugali yung ating Pangulo. Kaya tingnan ninyo. Barkada lang ni Digong mga kababayan si Xi Jinping. Pagkatapos si Putin. Isolation yung nangyari sa ating bansa. Kaya wala tayong mga kaalyadong maayos. Pinagsamantalan tayo ng China. Kasi subservient tayo sa China. Hindi dapat ganon ang pinapakita natin. Kundi dapat mutual respect. Di ba? Ito, pakinggan natin yung kwento, presko ng ating Pangulo. Naitanong kasi sa kanya ng media.
Kulang din sa tulog, sir. Sir, you earlier mentioned that you are keeping a close eye on the meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Donald Trump. What key points in their meeting do you feel that will impact the Philippines most and is most of concern to you?
Well, I'd love to know, but parang we haven't gotten very much information out of either side. Either the American side or the... Meron ba kayo, anong balita ninyo? I'll ask you. Baka kasi you monitor the news. Ano bang nangyari sa meeting nila?
Does that count as my follow-up question na?
Hindi na.
Sir, basically...
lahat nung nakikichismis ako, lahat ng mga leaders, may alam ka ba? May alam, anong nabalitaan mo? And it so happened, during the round table, ang katabi ko, si Secretary Lacnic. Kami ang dalawa. So I kept pushing him. I said, can you share some? Yeah, but I was very, very, very tight-lipped. About it. So it's very hard. The best information I got says that they have declared peace for at least a year. So the trade war will be less intense, at least for a year, or at least that's the agreement. And pag nung sinasabi sa amin yon, well, for ang usapan nila for a year. We hope it lasts a year. So do we. But medyo nakahinga ang buong mundo ng kaunti dahil na medyo nagkaayusan. Kahit na hindi kompleto, nagkaayusan ang dalawang pinakamalaking ekonomiya sa buong mundo, China at saka US. So yes, I think in the end, it was good that they met, and it was good that they came to some conclusions. We are waiting to see more, trying to get more information. We'll see how it impacts the Philippines, our trade deals with the U.S., our trade deals with China, and I guess within ASEAN and within APEC. It really affects the entire world.
Sir, for my follow-up question, just two prongs. First, sir, was it a deliberate part for the Philippines to skip a meeting with the U.S. President? And second, we understand to not have a meeting with U.S. President Trump. And second, you met briefly with President Xi Jinping. May we know to what extent the Philippines would actually cooperate with China in the region?
We didn't ask, neither side asked for a meeting from the U.S. or from the Philippines. So that's basically the reason why we didn't. Because we are in very, very close communication with the White House. We are in very close communication with, I know that the SND is very close communication with their Secretary of, hindi na pala Defense, War, Secretary of the Department of War. In terms of trade, both Secretary Chris Roque and Secretary Go are still in the middle of negotiations for certain products in terms of the tariff schedule that the Americans have put up. I'm guessing here, but I would imagine that his purpose here was to connect back with ASEAN and with South Korea and with Japan, and then meet with Xi Jinping. And he managed to. Kasi pagkatapos na yung meeting nila ni Xi Jinping, umuwi na kaagad. He was represented by Secretary Lutnick. With President Xi Jinping again, neither side asked for a meeting. Because anong pag-uusapan namin, this is not the time or the place to talk about the West Philippine Sea. You will not achieve anything for having a meeting about that. Kasi yun lang naman ang pag-usapan namin eh. Hindi naman, yun lang ang pag-uusapan namin. Kung hindi, ayan, public alert notice, meron din ako niyan eh. Parang sa atin, akala mo, babagsak na yung langit eh. This is not this is APEC. It's an economic meeting. You don't really talk about such issues. In ASEAN, pwede pa. These political issues. That's why I always bring it up. But I didn't. The only time I was able to speak to President Xi Jinping was in our last leaders retreat meeting. And the reason why, ang hirap lapitan talaga. Meron kaming holding room. But every time he comes in, he's surrounded by security. So, ang hirap lapitan. Ayoko namang mamilit. Baka suntukin pa ako ng security guard niya. But when we came to the end, sabi ko, nakakahiya ito. Hindi pa ako bumabati. Hindi ba? Baka ako anong sabihin. Baka naman ma-offend. Sabi ko, so, pinilit ko makapunta sa kanya. And I said, congratulations on your assumption of the chair for the following APEC. And I hope to do good work together with you. That's it. Mabilisan lang eh. Mabilisan lang talaga.
So yun ang rason ng ating Pangulo. Kaya lumapit siya para i-congratulate si Xi Jinping. Baka magtampo. Lalo pa, mga kababayan, na naninindigan tayo sa sovereignty natin dito sa West Philippine Sea. Di ba? Para po, parte yan ng two-east tension. Di ba? At hindi madamay yung ibang issue, lalo sa economy. At ang China, saka Amerika na first and second largest economy in the world. Ang trade war nila would impact the economy of all nations of the world. You see? Kaya yung binabantayan po ng lahat, including our country. Kaya nga nakikibalita ang bawat isa sa mga leaders na nag-attend sa APEC leaders meeting. Ito, pakinggan natin yung paliwanag ni Dr. George N. Manzano, former Tariff Commissioner, Associate Professor po ng UANP School of Economics, University of Asia, para magkaroon tayo ng konting kaalaman, understanding kung ano itong sinasabing trade war. Bakit interesado ang mga leaders ng mundo at paano maapektuhan ang mga economies ng mundo with the trade war between the two leading economies in the world. Pakinggan po natin.
Very interesting times. As we speak, there's a trade war unraveling in the world. It's a trade war between two titans, the United States and China. The U.S. has just set up tremendous barriers to trade. China, in turn, returned the favor, setting up retaliatory tariffs in order to prevent American products from entering into the Chinese market. Now, why is this significant to countries like the Philippines? We are quite far off, kilometers away. But as we know in the area of economics, what we teach here in the University of Asia and the Pacific, everything is connected to everything else.
Interdependent po ang mundo.
We have seen that there are repercussions on this momentous trade war on small open economies like the Philippines.
Interconnected.
First of all, if Chinese products are prevented from entering the United States
because of
market,
globalization,
they will continue to look for alternative markets for their products. They have to run their factories, they have to draw down their inventories, and they'll be scoring the world, including the Philippine market, in order to unload their inventories. First, among Filipino consumers, we'll be experiencing a lot of cheaper items coming from China. That will be good on the pocketbooks, but at the same time, it will put a lot of pressure on Philippine industries that compete against imports. And that could be a problem in terms of their viability if they could withstand very aggressive pricing measures from Chinese exporters. Well, at the same time, the trade war is unleashing a cloud of uncertainty over the whole world. The danger is businessmen, multinational companies across the world will take a wait-and-see attitude and temporarily stop their investments.
So, apektado tayo pag ganyan.
It compromises the future of many industries.
Correct.
Investments will compromise production of the future, and that would have tremendous consequences on the business environment in the future.
Yung trabaho na kailangan.
In trade war, it's not about profit maximization, for there are no profits, but rather it is loss minimization. What we have to do is to consider what are also opportunities that underlie trade wars. One opportunity that we can see, especially in the Philippine context, is that there will be a good number of investments that will flow out of China, looking for host countries. The Philippines is well suited to welcome these businesses into our shores. But for that, we need to be ready to absorb them. We need to improve our logistics. We need to tighten up our regulation, make it more free. We need to address the gap in education, to have a workforce that is fit and that is appropriate in order to embrace the different technologies that come our way. First, in the area of education, we should be able to train minds in order to be able to see the connection between events. Everything is connected to everything else. We have to find those connections. And secondly, to have the mindset to engage in hard research in order to find opportunities amidst the challenges that such events could offer.
Ayan po ang paliwanag. Simple explanation ng possible impact ng trade war between China and America. Yung investment flow dito sa ating bansa, kailangan natin yon. Kung magiging wait and see yung magiging attitude ng mga investors, it could affect us. Lalo't kailangan natin. Every year, ang daming nagagraduate na mga kababayan nating mga kabataan, mga anak natin, looking for jobs. Kung walang mga investments na pumapasok po, saan papasok? Magtatrabaho yung ating mga anak. So mapipilitan silang lalabas sa ibang bansa para to look for opportunities. Nakita ninyo? Kung gaano ka-importante siya. Kaya tinututukan ng ating Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na magkaayos yung dalawang bansa in terms of investments, tariffs, etc. etc. So bumalik na sa ating bansa kanina yung ating Pangulo from the APEC Leaders Summit sa South Korea. So ito yung kanyang mensahe, mga kababayan. May biglang pumasok na video. Ito na po, mga kababayan. Panoorin natin.
Magandang araw mga kababayan. We have just concluded our fruitful participation in the 2025 Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Economic Leaders Meeting held in Gyeongju, Republic of Korea. At this year's gathering, I joined my fellow economic leaders in a series of productive meetings on the most pressing challenges confronting the Asia-Pacific region, from supply chain disruptions and climate change to persistent economic inequality and the accelerating pace of technological transformation. I'm pleased to report that our engagements were robust, our discussions fruitful, and our shared commitment to collective action reaffirmed. Throughout the meetings, we focused on the themes of connectivity, innovation, and prosperity, which underpin APEC's mission to foster growth that is inclusive, resilient, and sustainable. We saw once again how APEC member economies, despite our diversity, share common aspirations and how strongly we resonated in our desire to move forward together. We saw alignment in the urgency for resilient growth, inclusive prosperity, and sustainable development. More importantly, we debated, we listened, and we laid down meaningful and action-oriented pathways for regional economic cooperation. The key global concerns discussed revolved around the rapid deployment of AI, far-reaching demographic changes, and the flourishing of cultural and creative industries. These topics are not only timely but also deeply relevant to the Philippines' vision of building a resilient, inclusive, and future-ready economy. In light of these discussions, I had the opportunity to advance our Philippine priorities, including, 1, our emphasis on the importance of narrowing the digital divide for MSMEs by equitable access to digital services and financial inclusion. 2, advancing seamless movements of goods and people through infrastructure development. 3, promoting supply chain resiliency amid shocks and crises. And 4, promoting digital literacy and upskilling for our MSMEs, women, and other segments whose full economic potential can be realized through digitalization. These priorities were well received, and we worked with our partners to identify concrete ways forward, as reflected in the outcome documents adopted and concluded during the visit. On the sidelines of the visit, I held bilateral meetings with Republic of Korea President Lee Jae-myung and Chilean President Gabriel Boric. We reaffirmed our commitment to deepen bilateral relations between our countries and to expand cooperation in areas of mutual interest. I also met with top executives from Korean conglomerates, a move that reflects the growing confidence of Korean investors in the Philippines' economic potential and policy environment. The discussions were strategically focused on exploring partnerships in high-value sectors such as advanced manufacturing in electronics and semiconductors, clean energy, and defense-related industries. I also witnessed the signing of a supplemental agreement between the DTI's Philippine Economic Zone Authority and Samsung Electromechanics Philippines, valued at over 50 billion pesos, which is expected to generate more than 3,000 new high-technology jobs for Filipino engineers and technicians. Beyond that, they commit to the training of our people and the establishment of R&D centers with some of our universities. This commitment is vital, as Korean FDI inflows reached $55 million in the first half of 2025, reflecting strong investor confidence that this administration is seeking to translate into concrete long-term commitments. These business meetings, organized by the Department of Trade and Industry, aim to significantly deepen economic ties, leveraging the momentum of the Philippines-Korea Free Trade Agreement, which entered into force last year. And finally, my visit would not have been complete without connecting with our kababayans in Busan, which we had the honor of visiting. I'm very grateful to them for their meaningful contributions both to their communities in the Philippines and in the Republic of Korea. Their dedication and success brings pride to every Filipino and strengthens the enduring friendship between our two nations. I encourage them to stay united, to collaborate with us in building a stronger, more resilient Philippines. Now as we return home, let us all carry forward the momentum that we have built, translating our commitments and agreements into tangible results, forging lasting partnerships, and ensuring that the Asia-Pacific region continues to thrive, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable. Maraming salamat at magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
Ito yung arrival ng ating Pangulo from South Korea.